volunteers were only useful if you needed food or the odd dollar. She wasn't going to waste them on the security man or this boy band. But still, she'd accepted the job so that she could try to dig up some exclusive dirt on one of the band members in the hope that it could earn her a big enough payday to get off the streets and back to school, and get Jude the help he needed. She had to keep that at the front of her mind. Money. I'm here for the money that can make me safe, make us safe. Jude had saved her life when she'd first become homeless. Literally. An older man, a veteran judging by his tattoos, he'd never said so himself. He had his own demons that kept him on the streets. And now, finally, she was in a position to help him for a change. She could not blow this. She wasn't going to let him down. She picked up her backpack, trying to appear casual instead of the total mess of anxiety that was her default state of being, and made her way through the elaborate row of gates and fences designed to keep the fans away from the band. Girls were 5 deep trying to get a glimpse of the world-famous boys. Homemade posters hung on the metal bars, and for a second, she wondered how much she could sell her all-access pass for. Since she'd been assigned to Will Fray, the quietest guy in the band, that might actually be her best money-making option. Jeez, just one break, please. Except this was her break, and she was going to make it work or die trying. She hauled her backpack onto one shoulder and, by habit, patted the pocket that held her notebook. Check. With no cell phone and no laptop, she relied on her notebook to record every conversation, every interview, every idea. It was that attention to detail that had gotten her this gig. WowSounds.com had been so impressed with the authenticity of her article of the homeless of Tulsa that they'd asked her to pick up seconds to Juliet's Make It Last tour here. They'd never suspected she was, in fact, one of the people she'd interviewed for that piece. They'd also never suspected she was only 17. "You all right, miss?" She turned back to the security guard who had come out of his hut. "Are the fans here every day?" His gaze flittered over the throng of girls. "Since we arrived in town, yeah. They're not allowed to go speak to them. The boys, I mean." "Why's that?" "LJ thinks that once the girls get a photo and an autograph, they won't bother buying the albums or coming to the concerts." "Is that true? I would have thought it would make them want to see them more." "Me too, but what do I know? I'm just the muscle." He took her by the shoulders, turned her back around, and pointed her in the direction of the buses. She stiffened under his touch, but tried not to react. He pushed her lightly. "Leave your luggage at the bus, and then someone will show you around." "Thanks." She headed off across the lot, sweat trickling down her back. She mentally went over the very few articles she'd read about Will Fray. She'd have to look at her notes as soon as she found somewhere safe and quiet to work. She'd spent the last 2 days researching at the library she'd always used to send her articles in to the editor. Her notebook was filled with the songs, albums, quotes, and background info on all the guys. This would have been so much easier if she had access to the whole band. Out of all of them, Ryder was the one most likely to have some dark secret she could expose. He was the bad boy. Instead, she was stuck with Will Fray. Magazines had dubbed him the shy one, but as far as she was concerned, he may as well be the boring one. What did girls even see in him? She was sure he was cute and all, but she liked boys who weren't afraid to speak their mind. The chances of him giving her any kind of info to work with were probably next to none.